one of the people who have been leaving comments below some of my videos has asked that I show what is my hair styling routine. How do I get my hair like this? Now, my hair is naturally curly. I'm just starting to explore the curly girl method, and I haven't really gotten into using the products in a way that you're, I guess, advised to after you've washed your hair. I actually went no shampoo, or I started experimenting with going no shampoo late in July, but that's because I've wanted to get off of chemicals. So that does leave me with a little bit of a quandary, coming to find out that that is actually part of the curly girl routine, is to stop using shampoo. But then on the other end of that, it requires all these conditioners and hair gels and stuff like that. And that was actually something I wanted to avoid. I haven't gotten really into it yet. So sometimes my hair looks more frizzy than others. Now, right now it's actually a little more frizzy than when I first woke up. And that does tend to be the case with what I have been doing for over 20 years. So at the point that the person asked me, how is it that I get my hair to look kind of like this? It kind of has this overall shape. But in terms of the curl formation and the frizz formation, a lot seems to kind of go into that. And that so far is something that I don't really have control over. Now, if I do delve in more into the use of the conditioners and the gel cast methods that the curly girls do, then probably this frizz will become more and more under control. But that part remains to be seen. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be going over what it is that I've been doing for probably at least 20 years that has yielded to varying degrees of frizziness, this overall thing. I hope you won't be too disappointed, because I don't actually really style my hair. I've just learned to work with the texture that I've got in ways that have worked better for me than anything I had done before I figured out what it is that I've been doing. So I'm not sure how this will land for you. I don't know if you'll be like, oh wow, that's so easy and cool, and I can do that too with my hair texture, or if you're gonna be like, really? That's what she does? Like, I don't know if that's gonna work for me. I'm not sure how this will land for you, but of course, I'd love to hear from you. So try it and leave me comments below. And I will be making videos in the near future as to what my experiences with experimenting with the curly girl stuff. Because although I do overall aim to be really more natural and not be putting any chemicals at all on my body, at least to the best of my ability, I am curious about using the curly girl stuff just to see what it'll do. I'd at least like to try it. So stay tuned. I'm going to show you what it is I do to get my hair like this. My hair is wet. Now, this is not curly girl approved, so keep in mind I'm learning to do new things that I haven't fully integrated yet. But the person who asked the question about what I've been doing asked it about my hair as how it was appearing at that point. And so I want to show what I've been doing for all of these years. So I know curly girl doesn't use terry cloth. I did not know that terry cloth could make your hair frizzier. I had no idea whatsoever. All right, so what I would do is I would wash my hair, put the conditioner, rinse it out. Sometimes I would put a little leave-in conditioner in, mainly from like the ends down, after it was wrung out pretty well, which is another thing you don't really do with curly girl. And I wasn't putting in nearly the amount of conditioner that curly girl people put in. And then I would put the towel like this, okay? And so I would let the towel absorb the extra water for a few minutes while I dried the rest of my body off with another towel. And then I would put on like a tank top. I usually wear tank tops underneath just about everything all the times of the year. It just makes me feel, I like the way they feel. I'd at least put that on, and you know, like my panties or like my yoga pants, maybe my pajama pants, depending on what I was going to put on. And then at that point, I would feel like, okay, the water's probably absorbed pretty well. So I would take off the towel and do this here, all right? And so we've got all this hair going on here. It's very wet. Now, this is really tangly. So, yes, I have always tended to kind of separate it a little with my fingers, but I would go through it with a wide tooth brush. I don't see the one I normally use, so I'm not, apparently with Curly Girl I recently found out you don't ever even put a brush on your hair. Well, I don't know. We'll see about that. Is all I have to say. For long hair, and I've seen a lot of people not do this correctly, but I did spend years working in and with very closely with the owner of a long hair salon. So you want to comb through like the bottom and then work your way up, okay? If you've got long hair and you're combing through it, you should always comb through it in this way. I understand that for Curly Girl, you're ideally not combing through, and ideally you don't even wring out the water. Ideally you do a lot of stuff with your hair with it soaking wet. So I'm going to be making probably a lot more videos in the future as I'm experimenting with different things with my hair. But for the purpose of showing the person who asked how I've been doing my hair. So with long hair, you definitely want to start at the bottom and work your way up because you will get the tangles out more easily and with much less potential breakage of your hair, okay? I see a lot of people, their hair's tangled and they start up here. I'm like, oh my god, I cringe. You just make it worse for yourself. Start at the bottom and work your way up, and then, you know, then you'll work further and further through the length and it'll come out faster. That way, you'll get through the tangles much more quickly that way. Okay? Alright, so then what I would typically do. Now, usually I would do this late in the day or in the evening, because if I do this late in the day and the evening and then I do this next part that I'm going to explain, then the curl formation usually tends to have less frizz. If I do this early in the day, I can't do this whole routine and I will tend to have more frizz. So usually what I do then, I start to pull it back, okay? See how I work with this? I have that swirl going on. My hair, my natural part, okay, the long hair specialist that I spent a lot of time with, he developed his own techniques. He developed his own cutting techniques. He developed a lot of amazing things. I'll tell more about it in times ahead. Oh, brother, I forgot my hair clip. Dang. Alright, I have to go get my hair clip too. And one of the things is that he actually knew that people tend to have a natural part, and the way he would find it was he would push all your hair back and he would start to push it forward, and then it tends to part like where the natural part is. And he would actually work a design of a haircut off the person's natural part, also using other flows of their hair, so that that was one of the elements that would be involved, so that then when their hair was, you know, falling how it falls, it would tend to fall in a way that looked better. Alright, so next thing I tend to do is I put my hair in a French twist, okay? And I'll show you from the back in a minute if you don't know how to do that. Alright, so I'll get my hair in a French twist. I'll show you from the back in a minute. And I'll clip it, so I'll work this French twist up. I'll show you in the back. And I'll clip it here. And then I leave this alone for like the rest of the day or the evening. And this really works best if I tend to wash my hair within maybe like 3 to 5 hours of when I'm going to go to bed. Sorry, my cat is meowing outside the door. Ironically, that's his I want to play meow. I think it sounds kind of like the world is caving in meow, but anyway. So what I do is I keep this clipped up for the rest of the evening. This is how it goes when it's ideal. Again, if I wash my hair earlier in the day, I will clip it up like this for as long as I can, and I'll let it back down, but it's usually damp when I let it back down, and it doesn't really dry as well, and it will tend to have more frizz. It'll still have the overall shape, but it'll just have more frizz and a little bit less of a nice curl formation. So when I have it like this, and I then go to bed, so maybe like 3 to 5 hours have passed. So it's damp, but it's not like wet. It's not like my pillow gets like all wet. Okay. So then what I do is when I go to bed, I lay down and I'll take the clip out and I will like come down onto my pillow, and I'll basically like lift this out over the pillow, and then I'll like turn, and I'll get in my position, and I'll put my hair out over the pillow, and then I go to sleep like that. Okay, so let me go get my hair clip, and then I'll show you how to do that twist from the back side too. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how I do this twist from the back. Again, I'm kind of smooth it this way. And, alright, hopefully you could see this. Alright. So I bring it down. I'm right-handed, so I bring my right hand over. If you're left-handed, you might want to switch this. Then I bring this part out over here so it's out of my way. And then I start to twist my hand under, looping it like this a couple times, and then I bring that loop up. And then I work this inside. And so I'm tucking those ends in, and I'm also smoothing this up. This is how you actually make a French twist. I mean, I don't know that that's really in style anymore, but if you ever wanted to make a French twist, and then you can, you just put like hairpins in it. Like you put hairpins to hold it, like the old classic style. And anyway, sure. Doesn't have to be perfectly smooth, really. It's just, it kind of tucks it up there, and then I hold it with a hair clip, and then yeah, I keep it like that until I'm ready to go to bed. And one thing that maybe you can see is that in the way that I do the French twist, in the direction that I do it, which was this way, it tends to bring this part of my hair over naturally. So when this dries like this, that's how I get my hair tends to want to do this, okay? Like my part's here, so my hair design kind of goes with the part. And I also have a couple cowlicks I think can add to some of the lift. Cowlicks can be a problem, but they can also be utilized to add to the lift if they're incorporated properly. I learned this as well from the masterful long hair specialist that I have mentioned. So seriously, by the time this dries, I've got this basis already in there. You can kind of see it's already there. And, and again, it's pretty, this is pretty damp when I go to bed. But this is pretty dry by the time 3 to 5 hours goes by. This is pretty dry. Okay, so it's the next morning. I slept with my hair out across the pillow. I don't worry too much if I switch sides in my sleep. I do switch sides in my sleep, not a huge amount during the night. If someone tosses and turns a lot, it might mess up your hair more than the amount that I tend to move around. I have recently found out that for the curly girl method users, that they often will get a satin pillowcase. I don't have one of those yet. I've just been sleeping with regular pillowcases. So anyway, this is how it tends to look. You know, it can be a little bit different day to day when I do this. So I didn't touch this yet. So you can kind of see that this swirl formation is kind of starting already. So all I really do at this point is I stick my fingers in here and I start fluffing it out. And today seems a little more frizzy than sometimes, but not as frizzy as others. And again, I think a lot of what's going on with my hair right now in terms of the amount of frizziness I have is just that I'm still trying to get used to figuring out when I need to wash my hair with what. And yesterday when I had woken, I do not rinse out my hair every day, but I did do it 2 days in a row to make this particular video. So I don't think it is doing as well today, because I rinsed that out. Maybe part of it is because I rinsed it out the next day in a row. But the curl formation is pretty decent. So, you know, if you have curly hair, you know you can't really rake through your hair or it's gonna really frizz. So it's, you know, my hair is not actually looking as good today as it tends to from doing this. Even this formation, this swirl formation isn't coming out as nice. So, you know, I don't know, maybe it's Murphy's Law that I'm trying to show you this in a video because I don't know if I've ever had my hair come out this bad up in here. But I just want to show you how I handle my hair, at least. And normally this just really falls right into place in this area anyway. I don't normally have a problem with this area, especially since I stopped using shampoo. But I think what my problem here is right now is that I rinsed this out the next day, and I don't normally do that, and I think it just maybe took out too much of the natural oils or something, but it's not too bad, I guess. Alright, so I just play with it until it looks somewhat pleasant. This is a really weird formation right here. I don't think I've ever normally seen that. So, I don't know. Alright, well, I hope that this answered your question. I hope that you can use at least some of this technique to help your own hair look better. Let me know how it works for you or what you thought about this, or if you still have any more questions. If you liked anything about this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to leave any comments below, I think I covered that. Sorry, I haven't been awake that long. My brain is on like morning mode. I'm not, ooh, it's morning, woo-hoo, type of a person. I'm kind of like, oh, it's morning, I need to wake up for a little while first. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you back here again soon. Thanks for stopping by. Sorry, I didn't know my flowers were back there. Alright, anyway, hey, it's my Sunday shirt, it's holy. Woo. Do I care about things like holes in my clothes? Not when I'm in the house. Or when I make quick trips to the grocery store at 10:30 at night. Other times of the day, yeah.